Now before we get started importing our characters and starting to work on our rigs, I wanted to talk to you about setting up a more efficient workspace for character rigging and for character animation. Now if you've already taken Character Animation Bootcamp, then you're already familiar with this setup that I like to use. But if you're doing this for the first time, I'm going to walk you through how to set this up. Now I've already saved my workspace for character animation and rigging, but let's walk through setting it up manually and look at how to save it as a custom workspace if you don't know how to do that. So you can jump to it quickly and then jump back to whatever other workspaces you like to use. Now if you've never customized a workspace in After Effects before, this will also help you learn how to do that. So to start with, we're going to move the timeline panel and we're going to put it under the project panel. Now I know it is under it right now, but we're going to put it under it within this panel here. So I'm going to start by clicking and dragging on it in the top part of the panel here. And I'm going to click and drag it up and you'll see these purple highlights. This is telling us where we're going to drop this panel now. If I drop it in the middle here, it's going to go on top of the project window as a tab. If I put it at the bottom, the top, or the sides, it's going to drop at the top and bottom or sides of this panel area. So we want it at the bottom here. So we want this bottom purple highlight. We're going to let go, and you can see now the timeline panel is directly below the project panel, and the composition panel is next to them both. Now I'm going to take the info panel, and I'm going to click and drag that, and I'm going to put that in between the project and timeline panel and the composition panel, like so. I'm going to close the audio panel because I really don't need that. Now I'm going to take the preview panel and I'm going to click and drag that and put that on top of the info panel so those are tabbed items. I'm going to close the effects and presets panel, and I'm going to close the library panel as well because I don't need either of those. Then we're going to add the effects controls panel. So I'm going to go under window and select that. Now initially the effects control window comes up as a tab along with the project window, but we want to pull that out and make that separate. So I'm going to click just above where it says effects control here, click and drag that down and put that under the info and preview window, leaving the project window by itself here. Now the last thing I'm going to do is open the Duic panel. And you'll need to be a little patient while that loads. And then once you have the Duic panel open, we're going to click and drag the Duic panel and put that underneath the effects control panel. Now at this point, you're going to want to go next to where it says standard or whatever workspace you started in, click on the little tab here and choose Save as New Workspace. And then name that workspace Character Animation and Rigging, or whatever it is you want to name it, so you'll have it available to you whenever you need it. Then you'll be able to reselect any other workspace that you prefer to use for your other motion design work. Now, why do I set up my screen this way? Again, if you've taken Character Animation Bootcamp, then you already kind of know the answer to this. The biggest thing is we want a lot of real estate vertically for our timeline because we're going to be working with lots and lots of layers. With this setup, I can squeeze this window up and kind of shrink the project window, but I can always quickly lower this and get at the project window when I need it. But it gives me that large amount of vertical space that you're going to really appreciate once you get into this process. The composition window, which gets squeezed into this kind of portrait shape, is fine that way because most of the time you're going to be working with bipedal characters that are taller than they are wide. Now, of course, that changes a little bit when you're working with quadrupeds, but it's a small price to pay for the vertical real estate in the timeline. The effects control panel is one we're going to be working with a lot in rigging, and you work with a lot in animation because we're going to be adding a lot of the controls for our character rigs to the effects controls on the layers. Duic, of course, goes without saying, is our essential tool for rigging, so we want that readily available as well. So this creates a very efficient workspace for both rigging and character animation, and I think you'll find that out as you work through the course.